Gethsemane Garden, the truth about the night of Jesus' abandonment and the pain of the traitor. In the upstairs room in Jerusalem, the air is warm and there is a faint smell of toast, herbs, and wine. The air is warm and there is a faint smell of toast, herbs, and wine. 13 men are gathered around a long, low table. The light from the oil lamps danced on their faces, creating flickering shadows on the walls. This is the Passover meal, a meal of remembrance and hope. But tonight, a deep sadness covers it all. Jesus, their teacher, looked at them one by one. His eyes contained a great love, but also a hint of pain that could not be expressed. He took the unleavened bread, looked up to the sky to give thanks, and broke it. "Take it and eat it," he said, in a deep and clear voice. "Behold, my body, broken for your sake." He gave to each person, and when they ate, the silence became heavier. Then he raised the cup of crimson wine. "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. The blood is shed to forgive the sins of many." He looked straight into their eyes, and his next words were like a blade piercing the silence. "I tell you the truth, one of you, who is sharing a plate with me, will betray me." A wave of fuss and confusion spread throughout the room. "Oh my God, is it you?" they asked, one by one, in a confused voice. After the meal, they went to a garden called Gethsemane at the foot of Olive Mountain. Night falls, cool and quiet, only the sound of leaves rustling in the light wind. But in the heart of Jesus, a storm is screaming. Anguish envelops him, a human fear of painful death and upcoming separation. He told Peter, James, and John, the three closest people, "My soul is sad to death. Stay here and watch with the Master." Then he went a little further, knelt down and fell face down on the ground. "Father," he prayed, his voice almost like a broken whisper, "if possible, let this cup leave me." When he returned, exhausted from the inner struggle, he saw that the three disciples had fallen asleep. An infinite loneliness invaded him. He woke them up. "Can't you watch with me for an hour?" But their eyes were too tired. "But not according to your will, but according to your will." Twice again he went to pray, and 2 more times he came back to find them sleeping. The silence of the night was finally broken. From a distance, the torch flickered like ghostly fireflies, getting closer with the noise of a crowd and the sound of weapons colliding. Leading the crowd was Judas Iscariot, one of the 12 apostles. His face in the flickering torchlight is a tear between cold determination and surging regret. He made a deal with the high priests. The sign is a kiss. He went straight to Jesus. "Greetings, Master," he said, and placed a kiss on his cheek. It was a gesture of love and respect. But tonight it became the worst sign of betrayal. "Friend," Jesus said softly. His eyes had no resentment, only an infinite sadness. "Whatever you come here for, do it." At that moment, the betrayal was decided. Immediately, guards and temple guards rushed over. Surrounding Jesus, the disciples panicked. Peter, always the most hot-tempered and impulsive person, acted instinctively. He drew his sword and in a hasty swing, cut off the right ear of Malchus, a servant of the high priest. Blood came out. But Jesus intervened. "Put the sword in the sheath," he told Peter definitively. All who use the sword will die for the sword." Then he turned to the wounded servant, gently touched his ear, and the wound was immediately healed. In the midst of chaos, he is still the embodiment of peace and power. He turned to the crowd, "Do you come with swords, spears and clubs to arrest me like a robber? Every day I sit and teach in the temple. Why don't you arrest me?" But no one answered. The disciples, in fear, fled into the darkness. While Jesus was tied up and released to the residence of the high priest Caiaphas, Peter regained a little courage. He followed from afar, full of fear but could not leave his master. He sneaked into the courtyard and sat warm by the fire with the soldiers and servants. A servant girl stared at him and said, "This man is also with Jesus the Galilean." Peter was startled. "I don't know what you said," he denied right in front of everyone. After a while, another girl saw him and said to those around her, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." This time, Peter swore, "I don't know that person." About an hour later, a man asserted, "This man must also belong to them, because his voice is Galilean." Peter began to curse and swear, "I don't know that person." At that moment, the sound of the rooster crowing sounded. Jesus, who was being passed through the yard, turned around and looked straight at Peter. His eyes did not blame, only full of suffering. Peter remembers what the Master said, "Before the rooster crows, I will deny you 3 times." He ran out. His heart was broken and he cried miserably. After a night of interrogation and humiliation, Jesus was brought before the Roman governor, Pontius Pilate. Pilate found no sin in him, but under the pressure of the crowd instigated by the priests, he indulged them. Jesus was brutally beaten, put on a ring of thorns and put on a red robe to mock. Finally, he was forced to carry a heavy wooden cross, staggering on the rough paved road of Jerusalem, the road leading to Golgotha Hill, the place of his skull. The crowd booed, cursed and mocked him. He fell many times under the weight of the cross and exhaustion. Among the spiteful and strange faces, he saw his mother, Maria, standing there. Her heart ached like a knife. Their eyes met in a moment of silence, a moment containing an ocean of suffering, boundless love and unspoken farewell. On the top of the windy Golgotha Hill, they took off his clothes and put rough iron nails through his hands and feet, and then erected a cross. The midday sky suddenly became strangely dark, as if the whole nature was mourning. Hanging between heaven and earth, between 2 thieves, he still prayed, "Father, forgive them, because they do not know what they are doing." He promised the repentant thief that he would be with him in heaven. He entrusted his mother to his disciple John to take care of. After 3 hours in darkness and extreme pain, he cried out, my God, how can you leave me?" Then, knowing that everything was finished, he said, "All things are done." And finally, "Father, I entrust my soul into your hands." Then he bowed his head and took his last breath. When night fell, a rich and pious man named Joseph of Arimathea had the courage to ask Pilate to receive the body of Jesus. By permission, he and Nicodemus, another Pharisee who believed in Jesus, removed his body from the cross. They gently wrapped his body in a clean shroud, along with 100 pounds of wood medicine and aloe vera. They placed him in a new tomb, which had never been buried by anyone, carved into a rock in a nearby garden. Then they rolled a big rock, sealing the entrance. All hope seems to have died with him. Maria, Magdalene and another Maria, sat opposite the tomb, crying in silence until complete darkness covered. Their world has collapsed. Early in the morning of the 3rd day, when it was not yet dawn, Maria Magdalene and other women brought the prepared aromatherapy to the grave. They were worried about who would help them roll the stone out of the tomb. But when they arrived, they were horrified to see that the rock had been rolled to one side. They looked inside and saw that the tomb was empty. The body of Jesus has disappeared. Their sadness turned into confusion and fear. Suddenly, 2 angels in bright clothes appeared. The frightened women bowed their faces to the ground. But the angel said, "Why do you seek someone who lives among the dead? You are not here. He has risen again, as he has said." Maria Magdalene rushed to tell Peter and John. She cried, "They have taken God's body, and we don't know where they left him." While the other disciples were still confused, she returned to the garden, stood outside the tomb and cried. When she bent down to look inside again, she saw a person she thought was a gardener. That person asked her, "Hey Grandma, why are you crying? Who are you looking for?" Still thinking it was the gardener, she said, "Sir, if you have moved you away, please tell me where you left you, so I can come and bring you back." Then that person called her name with an unmistakable familiar voice, "Maria." She turned around and realized it right away. That is Jesus, who is alive. Rabboni, meaning master. She exclaimed. A pure, indescribable joy, a joy stronger than death, filled her soul. Death has been defeated. Hope has been reborn, brighter than the dawn.